Hey guys, Ed here, bringing you part 8 of the Archer series. Before I get into it, I would like to say, if people are interested, I am going to make a giveaway, which is going to be a Shiny Eternatus or Pokemon Sword and Shield. In order to win this, you have to be subscribed and comment down below hashtag Shiny Legend. For other news, I have part 2 of Jiraiya's Sun ready, and also Cataclysm Part 11. And next week, I'll start scripting for Super Soldier and Reincarnation of Link Deku. As for Stardust Deku, it'll be taking Cataclysm's spot once it ends. And for the other one-shots, we'll have to wait and see. With that said and done, let's get into it.
Fearless.
Where we last left off, Archer left the scene as he was a ghost. Once he got a certain distance away, he put on an earpiece, which connected him to some bugs planted in the conference room. And then, he started to eavesdrop on the conversation of the pro heroes in UA, as he was grinning ear to ear, listening as the pros argued with what to do, having Archer on the scene. Meanwhile, in the conference room in UA, the remaining pros started to argue. Lad would say, "Principal Nezu, you can't be serious here. What do you mean that we shouldn't interfere? And more importantly, what the hell is Clock Tower?" Nezu would say, "As I said myself, I won't allow you to do anything. And regarding Clock Tower, all I can say is that none of you should get involved with them, and look the other way if they're involved. Because they can literally make anyone disappear without a trace. As if they weren't there to begin with. Or ruin the public image and make them seem as scum." And I would say, "Then tell me, was there ever a case?" Night I would say, "Well, I do know of one case. Have you ever heard of Enmakanagi? Or rather the magic hero Majestic?" The rest of the pros looked at Night in confusion, as Midnight would say, "Do you mean the pro hero whose quirk was to make platforms and use magic? That was going to be the number 10 pro hero, but they made Gank Orca number 10? Night would say, "Exactly him. He disappeared for a few months, and then he turned up dead out of nowhere, hanging upside down from a lamppost, in the middle of the night, having stab wounds all over." Nether would say, "That's a little bit extreme for Clock Tower. Normally they would try to sweep their handiwork under the rug, rather than out in the open. Would you explain why you think it's related?" Night I would say, "I will. Considering before the school year began, the infamous Archer has been making a name for himself. And then there was a case in Tokyo, where a villain was going on a rampage. As some pro heroes taking care of the situation, an arrow sniped the villain. He took something, and then he left the scene. Kinda sus if you ask me." Neza would say, "What did he take?" Night would say, "I don't know per se. But it was a piece of paper, rather a card, which coincidentally the pro hero Majestic had in his possession. And thanks to some encounters with Majestic, I heard that his card was a mere charm given to him by his mother. And after his body was discovered, there was no trace of it." They would say, "So the rumors of the class cards are actually true?" As I was confused, he would say, "Class cards? What are those?" They would say, "Well, the reason why I know about Clock Tower is because as a child I was raised by a Magus family. And they told me about what happened in the old days with the Holy Grail Wars. And then after the class cards have made an appearance, there were 7 servants, or rather 7 cards, indicating the classes they are part of, which are Archer, assassin, berserker, caster, lancer, rider, and saber. During the time of the Holy Grail Wars, it was said that whoever managed to make it at the end, a wish was granted. I assume the cards do the same. As I would say, how do you know if a Magus is behind something? As I would say, I don't know per se. Nowadays, everywhere we look, we can be considered as such. But it's not plausible because there are villains roaming around. I would say, if I may, what if what you said was true? That the cards grant wishes. And we know that Archer is after them. But what if there was someone else gathering them? Another Archer, perhaps? And as we're thinking, he would say, you might not be too far off. If I remember correctly, there were 2 Archers in one of the Holy Grail Wars. But that's all I know. Knight, I would say, so we have Archer, we have his goal, but what's the motive behind the madness? Neza would say, All Might, you've been awfully quiet. Normally you would say something. All Might would say, I wanted to bring up something about a young student in Class 1A. Neza would say, yes, Mr. Katsuki Bakugo. It seemed that what Mr. Mato said was true. All Might, cutting Nezu off, will say, then we could use that to ask about the Midoriya kid that died. Nezu would say, I'm sorry, All Might, but as I agreed upon, with Archer, we cannot interfere. And you, out of everyone here, should look the other way, because you are the symbol of peace. What would happen if the symbol of peace falls? All Might, slamming his fist on the table, he would say, that's why he specifically said me. Recovery Girl walks in the room, drying her hands with the towel, as she would say, what did I miss? After Nez explained to Recovery Girl what happened, Recovery Girl would say, it turns out he's smart. Having All Might being beaten on the ground will make villains pop out like mushrooms. And that's more of an insurance policy on Archer's side. The billion-yen question is, why does he want All Might out of the equation? Vlad would say, what about Mirako? Would she be fine? Recovery Girl would say, yes, luckily for her. He made a clean cut through her arm, and no vitals were touched, which is why she will make a full recovery by next week or so. Then I would say, Principal, if I may, I believe I have a working theory, but it may sound a little far-fetched. Neza would say, go ahead, Night-Eye, you have the floor. Night-Eye would say, we have the Archer. We know his goal. At witnessing what he did to Mirako, he doesn't care who stands in his way. We know that he took a card from a villain, and then we have an imitation that is after the same goal. What do you think these two would wish for? The room went silent as each of the members there asked themselves that very question. Nezu would say, I guess anything for that matter. But why do you bring this up? Naito would say, simple, Nezu. If I'm not mistaken, Eraserhead had a similar case. Out of 5 people, only 1 boy survived, but refused to tell what happened. Am I right? As I would say, yes, it was with the Mato kid. Why do you ask? Naito would say, judging by his recent handiwork with Mirako, Archer's first debut was, but before Night-Eye could finish the sentence, the window shattered as an arrow pierced Night-Eye in the throat, as the arrow was revealed to be carrying an envelope, and inside it was a receiver. Archer, through the device, would say, consider this your final warning. Keep to yourselves and ask that out of your way. Meddle in my business, and I'll burn you away to the ground with the top 10 inside, alongside the 3rds and 2nd year students. So, not only will there be a hole in Hero School, but doubt in the people, alongside the mistrust in UA as a whole. That said, I got more important things to do. Archer out. And that would say, you listen here, punk! But before he could say anything else, an arrow made his way into his arm, piercing through it. Olmay would say, he was listening on us. Recovery girl looking out the window with a binocular, she would say, and it seems that Archer sniped from around 5,000 to 8,000 meters, and he is giving us the middle finger. The pro heroes there didn't want to question why she had a binocular in her pocket. With Night Eye losing his life, All Might came to realization that he can't take a chance with Archer, so instead he'll train Mirio, and pass him one for all. We skip over to the day of the class rep to be announced. As the original, they settled on a voting system, of which Izuku had the most votes regardless of his cold attitude, and Momo as the vice. Izuku noticed that Miyuki seemed to feel less exhausted than the previous days, which assumed that Hisashi never got home the night prior, and noticing also the mood change with Todoroki. Instead of being the usual emo, he was smirking to himself. When Izuku was having lunch in the cafeteria with Ochako, Miyuki sat down at the table with the food. Miyuki said, "Mind if I sit here?" Izuku would say, "I don't care where you sit. You can sit whatever." Ochako would say, "Yeah, don't mind him." Miyuki would say, "So, I was wondering..." Izuku would say, "I don't care if you sit here, but it doesn't mean that I'm starting to have an interest in you." Miyuki would say, "Right, I just wanted to thank you and I made these, if you would like some." Miyuki brought up a small sack of home-baked sweets. Izuku looked at them and he noticed that it was his favorites. Izuku would say, "Puffins? It seems that there's a variety of flavors, so I'll take this one, only because I don't refuse sweets. Besides, Ochako has been telling me to sweeten up a bit." Someone else sitting down, she would say, "Oh my god, is the world ending? Because the class edgelord just made a pun." "Oh, sweets!" Izuku annoyed, he would say, "Thanks, Ashido. That just ruined my mood. Do you mind explaining why you are here?" Mina munching on a puffin, she would say, "Having lunch, duh." Izuku would say, "I meant, why are you here at this table? And don't you have any table manners?" Another person sitting down would say, "Because the other tables are full, and Uraraka and Midori are here." Izuku looking around, he would say, "Touche. My question is, why doesn't this cafeteria have small tables?" Mina would say, "Brighten up, edgelord." "Jiro, where are the others?" Jiro would say, "Kirishima, Kaminari, Ina, Hagakure, and Tsuyu, and Momo, they are on their way." A voice would say, "Mato, do you mind if I sit here?" Izuku would say, "Oh, it's just you, Rep." Kendo would say, "Could you stop calling me that? We're not in middle school." Izuku would say, "Did you get the position here too?" Kendo would say, "Actually, no, I didn't. Two other students got the role of Rep and Vice Rep." Izuku would say, "That's a shocker. But I've always told you that your way of doing things won't help you in the long run." Mina would say, "Do I sense tea?" Izuku, "Of course you are. I have oolong tea right here. And if you don't mind, keep it down, I'm trying to enjoy my meal." The other students arrived and they started to enter a conversation and get to know each other, while Izuku was annoyed. As the alarm went off, Izuku was still eating his meal, but the panicking students made it hard for him to enjoy it. He stopped the people at his table to do the same, and he aimed the fireball to the ceiling, catching everyone's attention. He stood on his chair, and he cleared his throat as he lit a cigarette. Izuku would say, "What in the name of hell are you? You guys are in a goddamn hero school, for crying out loud. So act like it. Get your asses back to the table and shut the fuck up." The intercom would say, "This is Principal Nezo speaking. Go back to whatever it was you're doing because the media outside managed to get in UA grounds that triggered the alarm. We apologize for your inconvenience." Izuku would say, "See? Fucking morons! I've seen cows panic less than you. You are nothing but a bunch of useless trash not meant to be here in the first place." Around the students would say, "Says who?" Izuku pissed would say, "Says me, because once you panic it's over. And if it was a villain attack, you'll be dead. That's why staying calm is the best option. dipshit. But none of you will ever learn until someone dies in your arms, because you couldn't keep calm. Ochako held Izuku's hand, which made him calm down a bit. Izuku flipped everyone off, and headed to class on his own, as the people that were at Izuku's table could tell that there was something behind Izuku's words. That was the experience that they could never comprehend, nor had the guts to ask. At the end of the day, Ochako asked what he did the night before, which in this case, he explained the events that transpired. Ochako would say, "What are you going to do now that you know what drug it is?" Izuku would say, "Simple. I have someone that I could give me answers. I ask an acquaintance where to go, and he pointed at Beckham. I'll probably go visit him after rescue training we have next week." Ochako would say, "Alright, as long as you don't kill another hero." Izuku would say, "He had it coming for trying to expose my identity. I killed for less." Ochako would say, "You shouldn't be proud of it." After that, the two walked home. As time flew by, the day of the USJ arrived. People got in their hero outfit and went inside the bus that was waiting outside the building. During the bus ride, the students started to chat as per normal until Aizawa entered the conversation. Aizawa would say, "So Mato, I heard what you did in the cafeteria the other day. I must say I'm impressed. You learned a lesson which is essential for a hero career. That take most pros years to learn." Izuku would say, "Well, if it's essential, why were the upperclassmen acting if they heard the sound of death knocking on their door?" Aizawa was about to say something, but Izuku cut him off. Izuku would say, "I'll tell you why. It's because they aren't meant to be heroes, and the lessons are child's play. My Gramps' training was more fruitful than this school." Aizawa would say, "What sort of training?" Izuku would say, "Martial arts, and I trained on my own until my quirk manifested. Ochako came and trained a bit in my family dojo." As I would say, "I see. I believe that we're here." As the students exited the bus and the Hero 13 explained the USJ's features, a dark purple mist appeared in the center of the plaza, revealing a hand-covered villain and a person covered with a hood, which was concealing his face. And behind them, a hulking figure that had his brain exposed, and a colossal distorted figure that had an axe sword-like weapon in his hands, as it was simply waiting for orders to strike them down. To be continued. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more. Turn on the bell notification to be updated so you never miss a video. That said, peace out.